I'm Charlie Munger. I'm 99 years old, and I've been wealthy for over 60 years. I've watched markets crash 4 times. I've seen empires rise and fall. I've helped build Berkshire Hathaway into a $700 billion company alongside Warren Buffett. But here's what nobody talks about, the part they leave out of the books and the speeches. I once started a year with less than $0, negative net worth, broke, divorced, drowning in debt, and watching my 9-year-old son die of leukemia while I couldn't afford proper medical treatment. That was 1962. Rock bottom doesn't begin to describe it. If someone had told me then that I'd become a billionaire, I would have laughed. Not because it was impossible, but because at that moment my only goal was making it to next month. That's where most of you are right now, and that's okay. Because what I learned in those dark years became the foundation of everything that came after. Now, if you're watching this video in 2026 and you have less than $100,000 to your name, I need you to understand something critical. You are not broke. You are not a failure. You are standing at the single most important financial crossroads of your entire life. The decisions you make in the next 12 months will either set you free or trap you in financial mediocrity for the next 20 years. There is no middle ground. I've watched thousands of people at this exact moment. Some made it, most didn't. And the difference had nothing to do with intelligence, education, or luck. It came down to 5 specific actions. 5 decisions that separate people who build wealth from people who stay stuck forever, working until they're 70, stressed about every bill, wondering why nothing ever changes. Let me tell you about 2 people I knew in 1975. Both were 35 years old. Both had about $40,000 saved. That's roughly $100,000 in today's money. Same starting point, same city, same opportunities. The first person followed the 5 principles I'm about to share with you. By age 55, he had $3.5 million. Retired early, traveled the world, never worried about money again. The second person did what most people do. Worked hard, really hard, saved occasionally, made what seemed like smart investments, bought nice things, lived a comfortable life. By age 55, he had $180,000. Barely enough to consider retirement. Still working, still stressed, still wondering what went wrong. Same intelligence, same work ethic, same starting point. The only difference was 5 decisions, 5 actions. That's what I'm giving you today. Not 5 tips, not 5 suggestions. 5 non-negotiable actions that will determine whether you spend your 50s traveling the world or wondering if you can afford retirement. Before we go deeper, I need you to do something for me right now. Drop a comment and tell me what city you're watching from and your biggest fear about money. I read every single one. And here's what I want you to promise me. Watch this entire video until the end. Don't skip ahead. Don't cheat yourself by leaving at minute 15. The people who make it are the ones who stay until the end and take action immediately. The other 95% quit halfway through, feel motivated for 48 hours, then go back to their old habits. Don't be that person. Here's the brutal truth that most financial experts won't tell you because it doesn't sell courses or get clicks. The biggest obstacle to building wealth isn't your income. It's not the economy. It's not your boss or inflation or the government. It's 5 specific patterns in your daily life that drain 60 to 80% of your paycheck without building a single dollar of real wealth. I call them the 5 wealth killers. And if you have less than $100,000 right now, I guarantee you're bleeding money through at least 3 of them. Let me start with the first wealth killer, and this one is going to make some of you angry. A car payment. If you are currently making a car payment over $300 per month, you are choosing to stay poor. I don't say that to be harsh, I say it because it's mathematical reality. The average car payment in America right now is about $700 per month. Over 5 years, that's $42,000. But here's what they don't tell you. That same $42,000, if you had invested it in productive assets instead, would grow to roughly $115,000 over 10 years. Over 20 years, $300,000. Over 30 years, $800,000. You're not buying a car, you're selling your retirement. And I know what you're thinking. Charlie, I need a car for work. I need reliable transportation. You're right, you do. But you don't need a $40,000 car. You need an $8,000 used car that runs well. Is it sexy? No. Does it smell like new leather? No. Will your friends be impressed? Absolutely not. But here's what it does. It lets you keep $35,000 that you can turn into $300,000 over 20 years. I drove the same car for 14 years. Not because I couldn't afford a new one, because I'm rational. Warren Buffett still lives in the house he bought in 1958 for $31,000. Not because he's cheap, because he understands the mathematics of wealth. Every dollar you spend on status is a dollar that can't compound for 30 years. Choose wisely. The second wealth killer is rent above 25% of your income. Now, I understand housing is expensive. I understand you want to live in a nice area. But if you make $60,000 a year and you're paying $1,800 a month in rent, you're spending 36% of your income on housing. That extra 11%, that $550 per month, is $80,000 over 10 years. $80,000 that could become $200,000 if invested properly over 20 years. Here's what I would do if I were 25 or 35 or even 45 years old, starting with less than $100,000. I would get a roommate. I would move to a cheaper neighborhood. I would live in a smaller apartment. I would sacrifice my comfort for 3 to 5 years to build a foundation that lasts 30 years. Most people do the opposite. They prioritize comfort now and sacrifice freedom later. Then they wonder why they're 65 and still working. The third wealth killer, and this one adds up faster than you think, is food delivery and restaurants. The average person in America spends $400 per month eating out and ordering food delivery. That's nearly $5,000 per year. Over 10 years, that's $60,000. But remember, we're not just talking about $60,000 spent. We're talking about $60,000 that could have been invested. That $60,000 becomes $150,000 over 10 years. It becomes $400,000 over 20 years. You're not buying dinner. You're selling your freedom. I'm not saying never eat out. I'm saying cut it by 75%. Learn to cook. Meal prep on Sundays. Pack your lunch. Is it fun? Not particularly. Is it worth $400,000 over 20 years? You tell me. Most people aren't willing to be uncomfortable for 5 years to be free for 30 years. That's why most people never build wealth. The fourth wealth killer is subscriptions you don't use. Netflix, Spotify, gym memberships, app subscriptions, software you forgot about, streaming services, delivery subscriptions. The average person pays $200 to $300 per month in subscriptions, many of which they don't even remember signing up for. That's $40,000 over 10 years. That becomes $110,000 over 20 years. Here's what you do tonight. Go through your bank statements from the last 3 months. Highlight every single subscription charge. Cancel anything you haven't actively used in the past 30 days. Not anything you might use someday, anything you haven't actually used. That alone will save most people $100 to $150 per month. That's $250,000 over 25 years. The fifth wealth killer is what I call status purchases. A new phone every year, designer clothes, expensive vacations, luxury items that lose value the moment you buy them. I wore the same $30 watch for 40 years. Not because I couldn't afford a Rolex, because I didn't need one. A watch tells time. That's its job. Whether it costs $30 or $30,000, it does the same thing. The difference is $30,000 that could become $80,000 in 10 years. Now I can already hear the objections. Charlie, you're telling me to live like I'm poor. Charlie, what's the point of making money if I can't enjoy life? Charlie, I don't want to wait until I'm 65 to start living. And you're right. You shouldn't wait until 65. But here's what you're missing. I'm not telling you to live like this forever. I'm telling you to live like this for 1 year, maybe 2, maybe 5 at most. To build a foundation that lets you live however you want for the next 40 years. Most people do the opposite. They live comfortably in their 20s and 30s, then spend their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s stressed about money, unable to retire, trapped in jobs they hate. I'm offering you a different path. 5 years of intentional discomfort in exchange for 30 years of freedom. Most people aren't willing to make that trade. That's why most people stay broke. Here's your first action. Tonight, right now, after you finish this video, go through your bank statements from the last 3 months. Identify every expense in these 5 categories. Car payments, rent above 25%, food delivery and restaurants, unused subscriptions, status purchases. Add them up. Write down the total. That number multiplied by 12 is how much you're bleeding per year. That number compounded over 20 years is what your financial freedom costs. Now decide if it's worth it. The second action, and this is where most people fail, is building what I call your freedom fund. Most people think an emergency fund is for emergencies. They're wrong. Your first $10,000 to $25,000 saved isn't for emergencies, it's for freedom. Freedom to quit a toxic job. Freedom to negotiate your salary without fear. Freedom to take calculated risks. Freedom to say no. That's what this money buys. Not safety, freedom. Here's how most people fail. They save $5,000. Then their car breaks down. They use the $5,000 to fix it. They start over. They save $3,000. Then they lose their job. They use the $3,000 to survive. They start over. They repeat this cycle for 20 years and never build real wealth. The problem isn't that they don't save. The problem is they don't protect what they save. Here's the correct sequence. First, you save $1,000 in a separate account. This is your true emergency buffer for car repairs, medical bills, unexpected expenses. This is the money you can touch when something breaks. Second, you save an additional $10,000 to $25,000. This is your freedom fund. You do not touch this money unless you lose your job, you get a life-changing opportunity that requires capital, or you have a true family emergency. Not a car repair, not a vacation, a true emergency. Third, and only after you have $11,000 to $26,000 saved, only then do you start aggressive investing. Most people invest too early. They put $500 into stocks while having $200 in savings. Then an emergency happens. They panic sell at a loss. They restart from zero. The wealthy do it differently. We build the foundation first. We make ourselves unbreakable. Then we take risks. Here's the timeline I would follow if I were starting today with less than $100,000. Month 1 through 3. Save $1,000 for true emergencies. Cut every unnecessary expense. Work overtime. Sell things you don't need. Do whatever it takes to get to $1,000 as fast as possible. Month 4 through 12, save an additional $10,000 minimum. This requires saving $800 to $1,000 per month. That means living on 50 to 60% of your income for 9 months. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's worth it. By month 12, you should have $11,000 saved, $1,000 in emergency fund, $10,000 in freedom fund. This is when your life changes, because now you have options. You can negotiate for a raise without fear of being fired. You can quit a job that's destroying your mental health. You can take 3 months to find better work instead of accepting the first offer out of desperation. This is what $10,000 buys. Not things, options. Most people never get here because they can't delay gratification for 12 months. They save for 3 months, see the money in their account and think, I deserve a vacation. I deserve a new phone. I deserve to enjoy life. Then they spend it, feel good for 2 weeks, and spend the next 5 years wondering why nothing changes. Don't be that person. Delayed gratification isn't about denying yourself forever. It's about denying yourself for 12 months so you can have anything you want for the next 30 years. Here's what happens after you build your freedom fund. You start investing aggressively. And this is where most people make their biggest mistakes. They think investing means day trading, picking individual stocks, buying cryptocurrency, following hot tips from social media, trying to time the market. All of that is speculation, not investing. And speculation is how most people lose money. Here's what real investing looks like. You buy ownership in productive businesses. You hold them for decades. You never sell. That's it. That's the entire strategy. Buy shares in companies that produce value. Hold them while they compound. Reinvest the growth. Repeat for 30 years. The mathematics are undeniable. From 1926 to 2023, the U.S. stock market has returned an average of 10% per year. Not every year. Some years it goes up 40%. Some years it drops 30%. But over long periods, 30 to 40 years, it has never failed to deliver around 10% annually. Here's what that means for you. If you invest $500 per month starting today, and you do it consistently for 30 years, and you earn the historical average return of 10%, you will have $1,130,000 in 30 years. Not from luck, not from genius stock picking, from consistency and patience. $500 per month. That's $16 per day. The price of 2 food delivery orders. The cost of 3 coffees. That's the difference between retiring with over $1 million and retiring with nothing. But here's where most people fail. They start investing, then the market drops 20%. They panic. They sell everything. They swear off investing forever. They miss the recovery. They miss the growth. They stay broke. The people who build wealth do the opposite. When the market drops, they keep investing. When everyone else is panicking, they stay calm. When fear is everywhere, they see opportunity. From 2000 to 2023, the market crashed 3 separate times. 2000 to 2002, down 40%. 2008, down 50%.